Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. It is Friday, Saturday. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. It is Friday, September 10th. And I will be on as long as you have questions. For those of you guys tuning in, or for those that will be watching this later, I do this every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Please join us. Set your clock. No one wants to work on Fridays anyway. And if you're new, post up a question. There's no dumb questions, just stupid questions. And I answer every question. If you're late to the party and I do not answer your question or it doesn't go through, head over to Instagram at BenTheBarman. Slide into my DM, post up your questions, and I will get to them. Usually about once a week, I get caught up on DMs on Instagram, and I did that last weekend, and I got literally just a landslide of DMs on Instagram. So tonight I'm going to be doing some hill work, hill repeats, and I'll try to get caught up on your DMs. So I hope everybody's doing well. Let me know how you guys are doing, how things are going, how your training is going. We take any questions, diet, training, nutrition, endurance, off topic. I welcome off topic questions. And as a note, your questions do not always go through. YouTube can be kind of funny. So if your question doesn't go through, it's not me ignoring you. It's YouTube or the system. And just try to post it up again, maybe shorten it. So on and so forth. So before we begin, I got two big announcements. Number one, I got a little baby right here. This is Buddy Pal. And Buddy Pal is about 9 weeks old, and he's a super baby. And he just has to lay by daddy. If not, he's going to cry. So I'm going to try to hold him for a while. And the other big news, I got an invite 2 days ago to do the Barkley Fall Challenge, the Barkley Marathon's Fall Challenge. And that's going to be interesting. I don't have any hopes of finishing it. I'm not at my peak shape when it comes to running. I've been kind of in a couple of down months, taking it a little bit easier. We're still running. I did a 5-hour run last weekend, but I'm just not ready for a challenge like the Barkley. So I'm going to go. I'm going to compete. We'll see what happens. But that's a pretty prestigious race, hard to get into. So I'm very, very excited for that. Now, guys, before we start, I have a couple coaching openings. You can head over there to superlivingtoday.com, hit the coaching tab. Please sign up. I enjoy coaching. That's what I do full time. That's what I enjoy most. I'm with my clients every single day. It's only $80 a month. You can have unlimited form checks, unlimited interaction. I'm not just a coach that is there once a week. I'm there daily. In fact, I communicate more than my clients communicate. Well, not all of them, but maybe about a third of them. I check in daily, a lot of accountability going on. And I will give everything I can to each client, even if they kind of, wither away. So check that out. If you have any questions about coaching, post it up. It's only $80 a month, a 3-month commitment. It's a good value. All right, let's dive in. Stein, what's going on, Stein? Stein is first, of course. Hope things are well. So Stein has a question. When on a lean bulk, is it normal to drop body weight on a deload week when calories are the same? No, because you're lifting, number one. So lifting doesn't burn very many calories on a non-deload week. So if you compare a deload week to a non-deload week, you're going to see a trivial amount of difference when it comes to calorie expenditure. So you could have some things going on, like you're taking it a little bit easier. Your body is relaxing, maybe less inflammation, so on and so forth. So I just completely ignore water fluctuations. What I do is I look at the long-term curve of a client's weight, and I completely ignore water fluctuations. So I wouldn't worry about it much at all. Now, if you're losing weight in a lean bulk, you probably need to start weighing very frequently just to get more data points, to keep an eye on things. and watch for trends. And if you need any help, you can send me send me your weight or send me a graph of your weight, and I can give you some opinions. All right, Richard from Scotland. How's it going, Richard? I just heard that Scotland is putting a restriction on entering the country unless you have your vaccine, proof of vaccine. So just heard that, making it this shit will never end, will it? Just seems like it'll never end. Hello again from New Mexico. What's going on, Paul? Josh, from early 30s to late 30s, I've lost leg strength but gained leg development. It's not normal to lose leg strength. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how your diet has been. I don't know how consistent your training has been. You should not be losing leg strength. That's not normal. And Josh, I'm not calling you abnormal. I'm just saying that's not a normal condition. So I would have to peek under the hood, Josh, to see what's going on, to see if you've been training. But I assume you've not been training consistently over that period of time. I don't know what your weight has done. Perhaps you've lost weight and maybe started to gain leg definition. So I would need to know a lot more, Josh, to be able to answer intelligently. So, Josh, just feel free to slide into my DMs on Instagram. Faz, what's going on? Faz is not with us today, but he I've been interacting with him daily. We got a couple things going on, so stay tuned. We'll try to get him back on the channel as soon as we can. Zed, what's going on, Zed? Good morning. Brendan, all right, how is it possible for a natty to build up to dumbbell bench 130s, 60 for 8 to 10 reps? Not sure what the 60 means, Josh, but 130s for 8 to 10 reps, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Most of the natural champions that I've run into, like natural bodybuilding champions, just for example, a lot of these guys are using dumbbells 130s, 140s, even in rare cases 150s. Most of them have a bench, well over 315, depending on their weight, of course. But a lot of these guys are real seasoned bodybuilders with a lot of development, or just folks with a lot of development. That's pretty much par for the course. So, yeah, it's definitely possible. Eric, what's going on from Indiana? And we already tackled that one. Josh giving a shout out to Faz. And what do we got? Also, is 5x5 more strength or size building? It's neither. Rep ranges are neither size or strength. They're both. Like this is something that gets way over complicated. Like there's a certain rep range for strength. There's a certain rep range for size. It's the same process for you guys. It's the exact same process, and we need to move away from that toxic thinking, because really that's what it is. I'm not pounding on you, Brendan. I'm just trying to educate you. But any reasonable rep range is both a size and strength building rep range. You want to build size to add strength. Size facilitates strength. And in those rep ranges, 6 to 12 for compound movements, if you're progressing, if you work in that range, you're going to build probably 90% of the strength you'll ever build. And you generally don't need lower rep sets under 5. But 5x5 is neither. It's both. He said phase. It's funny, I play Rocket League, and that's a common moniker. For advice last week, use wrist wraps for reverse grip bench. Huge difference. Glad to hear that. So, guys, we're up to 52 on the live video. YouTube actually notified people today. Post up your questions now. Usually when it's just me, I talk for an hour and a half and jump ship. So just want to remind you guys to post up your questions. I enjoy doing this every Friday, so the more questions, the better. Bob, Big Bob Thornton. I train 5 times a week. Eat like a king, but only belly get bigger. Well, Bob, I'm going to say it's not how many times you train, it's how hard you train. How much is your progressive overload in the last year? How much did your bench go up? How much did your barbell rows go up? How much did your deadlift go up? How much did your lat pull downs go up? We really want to look at those lifts in the last year and see. So not much I can say, Bob, other than that. If you're eating like a king, your eating should not be more aggressive than your progressive overload. Okay? So if your progressive overload or strength gains are weak, your eating shouldn't be super aggressive. You really need to get that progressive overload nailed. And if you're getting that if you have that progressive overload nailed, then your bulk, you should not be gaining more than about 1.5 pounds a month, or else it's just a fat gain program. All right, I got to try to set my dog down. Oh, there we go. He's rock solid asleep. All right, here we go. And I hope that helps, Bob. If you need some, help, a deeper look at things, email me or message me on Instagram at the Barman. And again, if you want some coaching, Bob, I'd love to help you. Head over to superlivingtoday.com, hit the coaching tab, sign up today. You weirdos, all you weirdos, sign up today, and we can get rolling. Coaching's a funny thing. It ebbs and flows. At any given time, 25% of your clients don't talk much. 25% of your clients, my dog just peed on its bed. That's good. 25% of your clients are super active, and about 50% are in the middle group. Here, I just had my dog pee all over its bed, and sorry, that was a surprising thing. It's a puppy. What do we got? Thanks for advice on reverse grip. Oh, already got that one. How does deload work? Less weight, less sets, no workout at all. It really depends on the situation, Paul. I try to keep deloading, natural, or I try to keep it, basically based on the situation. If somebody's a little bit run down, take an extra rest day or two, right? Extra rest day or two. If you got something coming up like vacation or a holiday or whatever, that's a good time to just take a week away from the gym and lick your wounds a little bit. If you want to do a working deload, you can do it one day or you can do it an entire week. Maybe drop weight by 20%, drop a set from each exercise. That's a generally a good guideline. All right, the chimp monkey. Wow, he's cute. Yeah, he's a cute little guy, and he likes to sleep next to me at night. If he's not allowed, he gets upset. Do you think an easier week of training every 4 weeks will hurt progress? No, not at all. I mean, what we're looking at, if you take somebody from the beginning of their training and you try, and let's say their nutrition is perfect and their training is perfect. So I take an absolute beginner, and and his training is perfect, his nutrition is perfect, and he goes for 5 years. He's going to be pretty close to as much strength and muscle as he'll ever need. So if you start from the beginning and you take every 4 weeks, every fourth week you take a little bit easier, will it really hinder progress? No, because it might slow you down like a year, right? As if you're doing things perfectly. But once you kind of get in, let me backtrack a little bit. Before you kind of get to that intermediate stage, there's really no reason to take off every 4 weeks unless your schedule demands. When you need to take off a week, you take off a week. But once you reach reasonable strength levels and you're pretty strong, then it's probably a good idea to consider taking off every maybe 6 weeks. And if you're older, maybe every 4 weeks, just a deload. Because when you reach intermediate strength levels, progress is going to slow. You're in it for the long haul, and it's okay. It's okay to rest a little bit more, if that makes sense. Lick your wounds, because one of the biggest issues with guys that are intermediates or advanced lifters is that they go hard all the time, and they don't know when to pull back. And if I could turn back the clock to 2007 when I first got into powerlifting, one of the things I would probably do is take every 6 weeks as a down week just to recover, to pace myself. So I definitely think there can be some value in it once you've built strength already. Mickey, do you think inner chest is a thing that we can focus partially on? Look, when it comes to, hold on, my dog's having a fit here. Let me, we got to bring in a new bed. There we go. Hold on. I'll be right back. I just got to get my little guy settled here. All right, there you go. Happily next so we can focus. What we know about lifting is that what we're learning about lifting, it used to be bro science that you can target, used to be bro science that there was regional hypertrophy, okay, that you could target a specific area. And now what we're learning this year is that regional hypertrophy is probably a thing, that there's benefit from doing multiple exercises for a body part rather than just one. So with that said, there is benefit in doing multiple exercises for chest. Now, when we get to the point where we want to just do isolation work for the inner chest, what we need to understand, there's two types of exercises. There's a type of exercise that has a wide progression window. So that means you can build a lot of strength. There's room to get a lot stronger. And that can be bench press, dumbbell bench press, even pec deck and machine chest press, okay? Those exercises you have potential to put strength on. So if you're going to try to put in one exercise for your inner chest, make sure it's something you can get stronger on over time. Something you can maybe, progress for a year or 2 years, or it takes you a while to tap out that progression, if that makes sense. There's no downside in trying to use a wide variety of exercises. Just make sure there's a reasonable progression window for at least 80% of them. And Martin says test. And Bill, what's going on, Bill? Rick, do you prefer a certain type of progression, like increasing the weight instead of increasing the amount of reps? You can't just increase. You can't do that. You just can't randomly increase weight. You have to, if you're not pushing some sets of your workout for as many reps as possible, you're going to hinder your muscle building a little bit, or maybe even a lot of bit, and that's going to limit your strength. So, you have to have some sets in your workout. We just know scientifically that you have to have some work that's pushed for as many quality reps as possible. So you can't just look, if you're in the gym and you got an arbitrary set and red scheme, let's say 3x8 or 5x5 or 4x6 or whatever the heck you're doing, and you just decide I'm going to add weight whenever, you have no progression indicator. Your progression indicator is whenever the heck I feel like it, right? And that, the problem with that is we know scientifically that most people think they're working harder than they are. I made a video about this recently, and so did Faz, that people are about 2 reps shy of how hard they actually are working a set. So if you tell them to work 1 rep shy of failure, they're actually 3 reps shy of failure. If you tell them to work 2 reps shy of failure, they're 4 reps shy of failure. This is an average. So if we apply that to, progression, the average individuals, is going to think a set is harder than they are, and they're probably not going to progress as efficiently as they should, or as reasonably as they should. So therefore, I recommend a progression indicator, at least one set out of every exercise where you're pushing for as many quality reps as you can. And in that environment, that if you hit a certain rep range, then it is time to move up. So take the guessing out of it and make yourself work for it, if that makes sense. Knee replacement in February, trying to regain motion, but I seem to be a scar tissue factory. Sorry to hear that, man. Never had to go through that, and I have no personal experience. But with injuries in general, half the battle is learning what you can do safely, and the other half of the battle is just being patient. Get on those exercises, do what you can, go slow and steady, and you should be good to go. Big Bill, is there a minimum time frame for an effective lean bulk? I'd like to peak June 22. Plan to cut a minimum time frame. No, look, when it comes to, I mean, a minimum time frame. A good lean bulk, you're going to gain about a pound to a pound and a half a month. Generally, a pound and a half a month is pretty reasonable. So if you want to gain muscle, you're going to have to continue pushing that until you gain the amount of muscle you want. So do you have to do a lean bulk consistently, like month in and month out, and never take breaks? Not necessarily. So you can run it as long as you want. But a minimum time frame, look, if you run a bulk and you're gaining a pound and a half a month, let's say 75% of that is muscle. Just arbitrarily, we'll say 75% of that is muscle. You gain, the more muscle you gain as well, the less chance that's going to be as much muscle. It could be 50% or even 40% or 30%. So it's really hard to say. If you have a reasonable amount of muscle mass, it's probably a good idea to bulk for 3 or 4 months and cut for a month, etc. Repeating that cycle so you're not gaining weight over time, and so you can add a little bit of muscle without turning into a fatty. I'm not sure if that makes any sense at all. My 6-year-old has been spending time with me while I work out in my home gym. How do I introduce him to weightlifting safely? You really don't. I mean, you give him some things. Safely implies that we're going to get him on lifts that are, challenging. You don't want to do that. Everything should be safe that he does. Body weight stuff, maybe a little toy dumbbells, that sort of thing. But beyond that, that's all he needs. He just needs to watch daddy, spend time with daddy. Maybe show him a couple simple body weight exercises he can do. Get him playing around. Get him doing a jump squat or something that's not going to get him hurt. You don't want him trying to do progressive overload right now. You don't want him to, I'm not saying that's your intention. You don't want him doing dumbbell curls or whatever. You can have him play around with the light weights, and make it a fun thing. Make it a playtime where he can watch you and learn and watch your habits. But you don't want him doing anything at all that's going to be challenging, or even, he's not, from a neuromuscular standpoint, he's not in complete control of his facility. So you don't want him near a barbell. You don't want him near any dumbbell movements where you got 2 in your hand and you're doing like a dumbbell press. If you do something like that, it just has to be super light. If training bench and military press on the same day, benching first, is it normal for bench to improve but military press to stay the same? Over a couple workouts, yes. But if you continue to run that same program over and over again, you should be seeing progress in everything. Back in 97, 98, I got to set my dog down again. Back in 97, 98, I did basically a push-pull legs type of thing. And on my push days, I would do chest and then shoulders and then triceps. So I'd start off with 2 big hitting chest movements, usually a barbell and a dumbbell, and then maybe dips, and then I'd move on to shoulder presses. And my dumbbell and barbell overhead press were extremely strong at that point. I was really focused on dumbbell overhead press, and I got that to like 120s by 5. And that was probably 9 sets into that workout. So it should improve. And if it's not improving, that doesn't mean you're weak or a failure. That means A, you might need to look at your nutrition, make sure it's nailed down, or B, you might need to change things around. Do bench first one day and then military press first the next day. But what I typically do with clients is we have an A-B split. So, for example, on bench day, when bench leads off, we'll follow that up with seated dumbbell overhead press. On the next day, we'll do military press first, and then we'll follow that with dumbbell bench. So we kind of alternate a little bit, if that makes sense. So that's an option I would consider. All right, let me get a drink here. Tips on how to eat more. Open your pie hole. Chipmunky, okay, that's my humor, right? So you really need to start with high-calorie foods you like. A little bit can go a long way. On your regular meals, add a little bit of cheese, a little bit of sour cream, maybe avocado, guacamole, something like that, right? A little bit goes a long way. You don't have to pile it on there. You can take a protein shake and add an ounce or two of heavy cream. That'll add some good calories without really making you feel more full. Nuts and seeds are a good thing to snack on. You can keep some with you and just pound a handful every now and then. You do these things, these simple things, and you can easily add 500 calories to your diet without much effort. One thing I'll say is we have to be willing to, do what it takes to get in our calories. There are some people that struggle to get in their maintenance calories, right? They're just like, I have a hard time eating to grow. And you really need to, you need to get smart about it. You need to find foods you like that are calorie dense. And you need to understand that you need to be as dedicated to your eating as you are to your lifting, or you're not going to get results. And that's the bottom line. Sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do to get to where we want to go. Josh, do people think 5 reps equals strength because they're already close? I don't know. I don't honestly, you know what I think it is? I do honestly know what it is. It's all these 5x5 programs like strong lifts and starting strength. Like no one can make a fucking strength program without having it 5x5, right? Because that's what all the cool kids do. That's what all the cool strength coaches do, right? And it's complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. So there's nothing wrong with a 5x5, but I think that's the association, and it's misguided. It's foolish. It's just silly, really. I've never used a bro split, but I'm curious to try it out. What's your opinion on the one body part per day, 5 days a week? First off, scientifically, we know that when volume is equated, or you're using volume is the same no matter if you're using a full body, an upper, lower, or a body part split, that scientifically it looks like using a body part split might be slightly more advantageous when it comes to hypertrophy. This is science. This is a meta-analysis. This is not my opinion. So don't get your undies in a bundle, as my mom would say. And she actually used to say that. So don't hate me. So I never used a bro split. Generally, I would probably start at 4 days a week. Chest and triceps, back and biceps, rest. And then I'd like to do shoulders, traps, and abs, and then maybe legs. So I like to start with that. So if you want to do a 5-day split, you could actually do a little bit more like an arm day on the 5th day. So you could do chest and light triceps, back and light biceps, rest, and then shoulders and traps, legs, and on the last day you could do more arms and abs, that sort of thing. So nothing wrong with that as long as you're recovering okay. Thanks, man. After watching some of your videos, I started to train hard and eat regularly and also got attached to the deadlift. I absolutely love the deadlift, and I find it to be, for me, it's always been my best back builder, and I know there's a lot of differing opinions in this industry on, is a deadlift, truly a back exercise. But I've gotten more back development since I started deadlifting in 2007 than with than before. So I love the deadlift for back development. So just keep working on form. Any tips on standardized lateral raise form? I always thought I was making progress, but turn out the form gets slushy. Look, the lateral raise is going to be a movement where you're not going to make a lot of progress over time. It's just going to be one of those movements. One of the variations that I came up with over the years was called the bulldozer lateral, where you start with the weight on your opposite leg. You get a little bit of momentum. You can use a heavier weight. And I like that more. But when it comes to lateral raises, just strict lateral raises, hey, a lot of my clients do them. There's nothing wrong with them as a last shoulder exercise. and especially if you are in a home gym and don't have a lot of equipment. But when it comes to a lateral raise, some people will try to keep their arm straight. You don't do that. You want just a natural bend in your arm. You don't want, when you compare your elbow or your put your arm out to your side and bring your fist equal with your shoulder. So it's equal, straight out from your shoulder. So you want to move that in about 6 inches, okay? You want to move that in forward about 6 inches, and that's basically where you should be, in that area, trying to lift the weight. So not directly out, straight out to your side, but a little bit in, have your hand about 6 inches in front of your shoulder, or maybe 8, something like that, if that makes sense. Brendan, for Repco System, if I stall, should I add another set? You're not going to stall, Brendan. That's the truth. You're going to slow as you get stronger. You're going to slow on progress, and that's normal. But you're not going to stall. If you stall, it's not the program. If you stall, it's not the Repco System or the 5x5 or whatever program you're doing. If you completely stall and don't add a rep for like 2 or 3 months, something else is going on, and it's generally not the program. So what we look for when we're training is that early on you're going to have reps and reps. You're going to add reps and reps, and that's a good thing. But then as you get stronger, the reps are going to slow and slow. Repetitions are going to slow. We need to understand adding a rep on our top set can add 5 to 6, sometimes 7 pounds to our 1 rep max. So even if you're only getting 1 rep on a set per month as a early intermediate, you're still making pretty darn good progress. So just keep that in mind. Can you add another set? I don't want adding a set to be triggered to this, okay? Because the issue is, if you are stalling, if you haven't added a rep onto 3 sets in 2 or 3 months, you have no business adding another set because something's broken, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps a little bit. Been following your massive iron 5x5, still progressing linearly since 5 months, but lately posterior days have become too hard to get through. Any suggestions? I'd have to understand what you mean by too hard to get through. If it's just mentally a struggle, what you probably need to do, time frame or just too many sets. As you get stronger, doing a lot of sets for the big lifts can become a challenge. So you might want to pull back a little bit. You might want to evolve the program, drop a set of squats, drop a set of deadlifts, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. And if you're curious, how I would adjust it, just send me a message on Instagram. But a 5x5, you get to a 5x5, it might be time to look for a program where you're only doing 3 sets on the big posterior lifts, or maybe you could just run that program and drop a set from each, if that makes sense. We all going to make it, brah. For me, my life is much more disciplined since I started lifting. My mind is way more calmer too. Do you feel the same? Absolutely. Lifting, one of the biggest benefits of lifting is mental strength. And I didn't start lifting to develop mental strength. I didn't start lifting, to get any benefits other than getting bigger and stronger. But as you work for progress over time, you develop these disciplines and these habits, and you feel like you can do anything as long as you take that same approach. Tomorrow I'm going to take 1 step forward. Tomorrow I'm going to take 1 step forward. And you build this attitude and this philosophy in life where if you get up and you take 1 step forward each day, that you're going to get there eventually. You're going to get there eventually, even if it takes a while. So mental strength and discipline, yeah. I mean, there are so many benefits to keeping a physical fitness regimen that transcend just the fitness and health benefits. Beep boop. Yes, they should. I saw the video. There are certain exercises that I don't think a novice, there There's certain exercises a novice shouldn't do. Certain exercises a novice should ease into and learn form. And then certain exercises that are pretty forgiving. I have really no issue with barbell rows. I didn't watch the video from the other YouTuber as to why. I don't really care to. No disrespect meant. But yeah, you can do barbell rows. You just want to focus on driving your elbows back and try to limit your torso sway. When you say diet and training are perfect, how do I know if it is? How do I know if diet and training is perfect? Well, if you're making, let's start with training. Are you recovering? Okay. Is your recovery pretty good? Do you feel like you can just keep going week in and week out with a number of workouts per session? Then that's a good path to be on. That's kind of like the fundamental. If you're struggling and the number of workouts is physically or mentally taxing, you might need to pull back. And this can be a hard thing from an ego standpoint for some people. But once you're in that groove, you need to make sure you're progressing on your lifts consistently. And if you are not, it's either an attitude thing, like you're just not trying hard enough, or you're either not trying hard enough or your nutrition's not nailed down. If you are under eating or inconsistent eating, you're going to see your presses struggle the most. So if training is perfect, you feel like recovery is reasonable and you don't need to rest frequently, and you're making pretty good progress week in and week out on weight and plus ones. Something is progressing every workout. So that's a good place to be. Diet consistency is key, and there has to be a reasonable degree of consistency. And you have to watch the scale, and the scale needs to be going where it should be going. So if we're looking to build muscle, it has to be moving at least a pound a month. If not, we're just working against ourselves. One of the issues with people is faith in the process. If your training is going well and you're recovering well and you're making progress in weight and plus ones, and your diet is going well and it's consistent and you're adding a pound to a pound and a half a month, if those are all going well, then sometimes we have an issue with lifters where they don't have faith in this. I'm not building muscle. I'm not building strength fast enough. They're not patient. But that is the perfect place where you want to be, where you're training, where you're making some progress each workout, either weight or reps on something, where your nutrition is consistent and the scale is moving up month in and month out. When you're in that zone, that's perfect. And you just need to continue to ride in that zone. And you don't have to ride it endlessly. You can do 3 or 4 months of bulk, 1 month cut. But once you understand that zone and you're in that zone and your bulks are going well, that's perfect. And I hope that makes sense. Rick 00. Top 3 YouTubers that you advise people to watch for the best advice. Faz. The only Jeffrey Verity Schofield. And the other ones I tune into are sometimes just to see what kind of stupid crap they're talking about. Oh, okay, one more. Hold on, let me find it. Revive Stronger. Okay, Revive Stronger. REVIV Stronger. 32,000 subscribers. Between Faz, Revive Stronger, and Jeffrey Verity Schofield, you don't need any other channels. You literally don't. So those are the top 3. And I'm going to share Revive Stronger real quick so you guys can actually see it. Never talked to the guy. He probably doesn't know me from Adam. But this is, I listen to his content a lot because he knows what he is talking about, and I respect him as much as I respect Faz. So there's a lot of good content on this channel, even though he doesn't get a lot of love. Alpha, definitely watch him as long as you're not getting crazy about your forearms or neck. Okay. I like Alpha Destiny. I do. We get along perfectly. I've been on his channel. He's been on mine, and he works hard, and I love 99% of what he puts out. But I don't want you guys worrying about your forearms and neck. It's just a waste of time in the gym. Here's where we disagree: is that I've only so many hours in the gym each week, so you have to get the most out of them you can. And I don't like wasting time on forearms or neck because they're going to grow anyway over 10, 15 years without having to do direct work. Eric, for beginners, would you recommend rotating front back squats, sumo hex deadlifts, or stick with one form and master it? First off, we want to get the Pope's blessing on our back squats and regular deadlift. If you're in this for the long run and you want to deadlift and you want to back squat, then you need to make sure your form is good on those before you start playing around with variations. So once your form has been blessed by the Pope as passable, then it's probably a good idea, if you want to add in variation, because there's no downside to variation when it comes to hypertrophy, no real downside. A lot of my clients, I would prefer they rotate, not a lot, maybe 25%, maybe hex bars and floor deadlifts, or floor deadlift and rack pull, or sumo and conventional, or whatever. So I think with the deadlift, it's a good idea to have two variations generally for most people, alternating week in and week out. You can bring up weaknesses, save your lower back some cumulative fatigue. The issue I have with front squats is a lot of people, when I train them, they simply do not like them. I generally don't put in front squats into my programming right out of the gate, because most people, at least 80%, just don't like them. They don't feel they're comfortable, don't enjoy them. So I generally don't program them. If you like them, yes, you can alternate front and back squats week in and week out. Absolutely. Mantis. I'm recovering my strength after some time with no training due to gym being closed. Now after legs, right leg tendons are tight. Any way to address this? Not sure what's going on. The only thing I can really say is when you return to the gym from a long time off, make sure you are taking your time and easing into things, because we tend to only look at the musculature system. We tend to only look at lifting as muscles, right? But we have tendons and ligaments and central nervous system and all these other systems in our body, and they need to kind of get used to a new set of demands. So ease into things. Don't rush. You're going to get hurt. If you're experiencing some tightness, there's a chance you could be moving too quickly, trying to progress too quickly. Maybe just kind of back off a little bit. Have somebody check your form. Try to figure out which exercises are contributing to this issue. I'm assuming it might be squat related, and have somebody look at your squats. But generally, just go slower. Go slower and work on form. Robert Anthony, using a Repco method when going up in weight on compound movements, how much of an increase do you suggest? The minimum increase, 5, 2.5, whatever. On dips or pull-ups, it would be 2.5 pounds, because you can put a 2.5 pound plate on. On bench squats and deads, 5. We want to allow the connective tissue in our joints to adapt and grow and strengthen, as well as our muscles. So when the folks that want to slap 10 pounds on a lift every time they hit like a progression marker, all they're doing is really they're trying to push progression or growth, and it's a lie. You can't push it. And here's the thing. Like, if I tell you to add 5 pounds of deadlifts every time you hit your progression indicator, and you're like, man, that's too slow. This guy's conservative. This guy's a conservative dickhead, right? Well, if you gain 5 pounds on your deadlift 50 weeks out of the year, that's a 250-pound increase on your deadlift. I'm not conservative. I'm not a dickhead. I think this is just a better method over a long period of time to allow your joints and connective tissue to strengthen as well. M. Dizzle, hello from Denmark. And Ian, thanks for giving the heavy cream suggestion. You bet. Eric, something that you have learned from Meadows, which you implement in your own programming. Well, Meadows was pretty secretive about his methods unless you were a client. I didn't follow John a lot. I talked to him at Tiger Fitness, but as far as training, I've never really overly focused on his training philosophies. Sometimes in this industry, you meet somebody and you're like, oh yeah, that guy works hard. Like you can kind of like, I know that guy works hard. That guy works hard. That guy doesn't work hard, right? So, when it comes to that, that's really my thing, is somebody working hard. John's working hard, right? Faz works hard. Paul Carter works hard. Those guys work hard. And that's the important thing to me, not a lot of the details of how they train people to work hard, because there's obviously different ways. So not being disrespectful to John, I just don't know a lot of his philosophies. I would like to see a book come out of his workout philosophies and nutrition information. I think that would be a good thing. How impactful is muscle memory? It's a huge thing. It's a huge, look, you have muscle memory and you have confidence. So when you're coming up the ranks, a 315 squat can feel like I'll never get there. It's going to be impossible. There's no way I can do this. And then you're creeping to 225 and that feels impossible. And you're like, there's just no way I'm going to get to 315. Once you get there and you've been doing it for 2 to 3 years, you're like, this ain't nothing. It's nothing, right? So when you step out of the gym for a while, you have the benefit of knowing, I can get right back to 315, or I want to get right back to 315 for 10, right? Or as an example. So you have that inherent confidence that it's not impossible. It's just the standard, right? I need to get back there as soon as possible. Also, muscle memory, when you step away, if you come back hard and heavy, like normal training for 6 months, you're going to be pretty much back up to speed. We know this to be the case. I don't understand all the physiological mechanisms. I know that a muscle cell gets fortified, and I used to say fortified for life. That was a little bit of an exaggeration, but fortified for a very long period of time. So when you come back, that cell is ready to rock and roll. Thoughts on reverse pyramid training? Anything is like pyramid training, like pyramiding up in weight. You can pyramid up in weight, and you can pyramid down in weight. Okay, I like pyramiding down in weight. I like doing my warm-ups and my heavy work first when you're fresh. A lot of my clients, they do what's called threes, or some of them do fours, where you work up, you do a set max reps at your heaviest weight, and then you back off. And you're a little bit fatigued, so you're backing off in weight 5 to 7.5%, and you're doing max reps, and you back off another 5 to 7.5% and do max reps. So I'm not a big fan of, let's say you do 185, right, for max reps, and then you jump up to 205 for max reps, and then 225 for max reps. It can be okay, right? I'm not going to sit here and say the sky is falling and you're going to get injured. I just don't like it compared to doing the reverse, to doing heavy work while you're fresh. It can be done. And if you do it wisely, you're not going to get injured. Just listen to your body. But I just have this mental thing. Do the heavy work when you're fresh. I don't like to get under heavier weight when I'm fatigued, because I'm just afraid something's going to tear or go wrong. How quickly does it take to gain back all your strength after a 3-week break? After 3 weeks, you really haven't lost much at all. So but you still have to be cautious getting back into the gym. So if you're away for 3 weeks, just completely detrained, you got to probably come back at like 60%. Just if not, you're probably going to get sore, bump it up a little bit, and just get back in your natural progression cycle. And after a month, you should be pretty close to where you were. In your experience, is a 300-pound bench a realistic goal for the average lifter who is 5'8"? Realistic? Absolutely. I hit 275 by 5 at about 5'10", 185 after like two years. So I think it's realistic. I think any lifter has the potential to hit 315. I don't like to staple it to a specific weight or height because I think that's arbitrary. But, as long as you are at a reasonable, normal weight, whatever that is, I think you're capable of hitting it. Obviously, if you're heavier, the extra food, you're probably going to have an easier time hitting it. So, yeah, absolutely. I think it's a realistic goal, and I think it's a goal any serious lifter should have and they should hit. All right. I'm normal weight, but sweat ridiculously during barely anything. I can also drink more than a liter of water at a time and feel normal. No, maybe your body temperature is a little bit hot. Maybe you run a little bit hot. When you move a lot, you sweat to cool. I wouldn't worry about it at all. Thoughts on Wendler's 531? Morgan, you're on the Massive Iron channel. Morgan, you're on the Massive Iron channel. You're on the Massive Iron channel. I want you to do my workouts. I want you to head over to superlivingtoday.com, and I want you to click on the workouts tab right here, and I want you to check out all these workouts, okay? I'm up to 2 pages. I got some really good programs here. 28-day power building cycle, brute force 3-week power building cycle, A-B split, massive crap, 16 weeks bench, massive iron 5x5, barbell and bodyweight full body. And then also in the store, you have books, Massive Iron, Muscle and Brawn Archives, etc. I'm not trying to be dismissive, but on my channel, it's all about, my workouts. I want you guys to try my workouts. I don't like to, I don't like to dive into the coaching programs of other people because can you make gains on anything? Yeah. But the reason why I put together my workouts is because I like them. They're my training philosophies. 531 is just a general template, and a lot can be done with it. So, you can run it good and you can run it bad, just like any other workout. I'm not trying to be dismissive, Morgan, but you can run any workout good and you can run any workout bad. Do I like the rotation of weight every week for guys that haven't built a lot of strength? No, I think it's just, is it bad necessarily? No. Is it necessary? No. So I get a lot of questions on other people's workouts, and I don't want to be dismissive, but, I've answered millions of questions on other people's workouts over the years. And right now, I have a lot of good workouts. I hope you guys will give them a try. Your answer made total sense. I like to stay on the leaner side, and size, while important is something I'm willing to be very patient on. So 3 to 4 months at a time is cool. Yeah, Bill, you're in good shape. I mean, you're lean and you got good muscle. So for somebody like you that is pretty rock solid already, I would probably bulk for 4 months at 1 pound to 1.5 pounds, then cut for a month and chop off a little bit of fat and just keep repeating that cycle. And look, some people don't want to do the cut every 4 months, every 5 months. I get it. I really, really do. At that point, you got to kind of decide, how you're going to approach things, because muscle gains, when you already have a lot of muscle, but maybe you have some more to gain yet. Bulking can be, a concept where you might only gain 3 pounds of muscle this year, Bill, right? And if you're gaining 1.5 pounds a month for 12 months, you could gain 18 pounds on the scale and then only 3 pounds of muscle. You're not doing anything wrong. You just already built a lot of muscle, and there's not a lot left to squeeze out of your system. So you have to, if you are serious about lifting and serious about muscle, and you've already put on a lot of muscle mass, you kind of have to get to the point where you admit to yourself that cutting, if I want to build, there's going to have to be these bulking and cutting cycles. It's just going to have to be part of life. If not, you're just going to have to kind of, eat at a maintenance level and just hope there's some progress, which is okay. It's absolutely okay. You can just stay kind of in that maintenance zone and keep what you have, but it's just a decision you have to make. Eric, you said if I stall on a Repco system, it's not the system. If eating in a deficit, is this to be expected? 152%, especially with presses. The less strength you have, and this is not, we need to understand this can be this is on a lift by lift basis. So you could be super strong on squats relative to your military press. Okay. So maybe you're squatting 275 by 10 with ease, but your military press is 95 by 10. So your squats are much better than your military press. When you enter a cut, the more strength you have, the harder it is to sustain over a longer cut. The less strength you have, the more likely you could possibly build strength on that lift during a cut. With that said, with my clients, when they are in a cutting diet, my clients tend to lose strength on presses, overhead press and bench press more than anything. And it just seems to be harder. That's just my bro opinion from what I've seen over the years, over the many, many years. So strength, like many people come to me, for coaching, and they'll say, hey, I want your coaching. I want you to show me how to be in a deficit and build strength. I'm like, I'm not Harry Potter. That's magic level stuff. You need to understand, not you, Eric, but anybody that's listening. If you got fat to get off, you need to get the fat off, right? And then you move on to, then you move on. You worry about rate of strength gains and rate of muscle gains. But when you're in a cut, you're just trying to hold that plane steady while you throw that weight overboard, if that makes sense. How to be humble at the gym. Well, I don't think Red Wild Bear, this is something that's specifically a gym issue. I think humility is something we kind of get lost as a culture, as a people, or even as an international community to some degree. People just think they need to interject their opinion on everything, or they think everything needs to be a comparison. I run into this from time to time, just with other people, trying to compare their bench to mine, or, power lifters, trying to compare their bench now versus where mine was back in the day. And, it's like, who cares, really? I mean, this is all just about personal development, personal growth. That's really the heart of things. So humility, humility can be attacked from many different ways. Not looking at life as what everybody can give me. Like in life, sometimes we can look at everybody like they're a power outlet, and I'm going to plug into them and see what I can get out of them, what kind of juice I can get out of them, what use they are to me. Instead, we have to kind of look at ourselves the opposite way. Like, what can we give to others? What kind of energy? What kind of life? What's our life's work? What can we give to others? And I think a lot of life is really your attitude and how you view other people. Like me, look, I'm super lucky to do this for a living. I am. I'm not the most ripped. I'm not the most educated. I'm not the most well-spoken. I've been through the wash. I'm an older guy. It's just like like I'm hard on myself all the time, but I have to pull back on that and remind myself that there are people that want help, and just continue to get up every day and do this. I love doing it. And a lot of times, I've been doing this forever, and I still feel like I shouldn't even be here talking, because, like, I feel like half the time I'm stumbling and bumbling and don't know what the hell I'm saying. And you always think back like, oh, I could have said that better. But how to be humble at the gym. I'm straying down a rabbit hole a little bit. But I think what you need to be as a servant in general in life, re-rack your weights, be kind, don't assume. Like, sometimes you see somebody might be angry at the gym one day and just grunting and groaning. And you're like, look at that dickhead, right? Look at that dickhead. But sometimes, people just have bad days where they need to go take it out at a gym. Sometimes we take on burdens in life of trying to analyze everybody. Like, why is he like that? Why is he like that? Why is he like that? Sometimes it's best just to let that go and go do your thing and do the right thing. Put your weights back and stay out of people's business and go about your business. David, do you have a recommendation for getting into running as a bigger guy? David, if you are over, say, 240, 250, the best advice I have for you is spend a year or two getting that weight down and walking on trails. Now, many of you guys will say, there are no trails near me. There are no trails near me. You know how many times I get this? There are tons of trails near you. Like, near me, let's see if this app actually works. Okay, I want to, and before I get into it, I'm just going to say, like, hiking with the ups and downs and elevation changes and everything, it's going to get you into great shape. Me, I was hiking every weekend. And it got me into great shape. By the time I started running felt easier. I was able to run 2 miles right out of the gate pretty easily. So I would recommend get your weight down and do as much hiking as possible. Maybe 2 30-minute sessions during the week of hiking. If you can't hike, do something at home for cardio that's low impact or elevation, like slight elevation on a treadmill or step-ups, and then get out on the weekends and crush some trails. Now, you guys are going to say, there's no trails near me. All right, so this is alltrails.com. Alltrails.com. And, like, literally, these are just the top trails. How do I show all the trails? All the trails, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why it's not showing all the trails, but I have been in this area for 6-7 years now, and there's literally 100 trails. Literally 100 trails within an hour and a half of where I live. Most people would be shocked at how many trails there are close to them, even city parks. So get educated. And when you do start running, David, don't feel like I have to run long periods of time. Run 10 feet and stop. Run 10 feet and stop. And when you do run at a conversational pace. And listen to this because it's important. Run at a conversational pace, as slow and as possible so you can sustain it. The biggest mistake people make is they are trying to run fast. You want to run slow and build up your conditioning. So run, walk. When you're on trails, walk up the hill. Don't run up the hill. Walk up the hill. You don't want to get your heart rate up. It's going to wear you down. So you got to be conservative on the hills. But 2 times a week, 30 minutes, and on the weekend, crush a long hike. And as you lose weight and build up your conditioning, start running slowly. And just let the running come to you. First set, I can get 10 reps, but it drops to 7 and 5. That's normal. That's the way it should be. I feel I can add weight to the first set, but will barely be able to get any reps on the last 2. When you are doing that sort of training, straight sets, that's normal. There's always going to be a drop in reps. So It could be 1 to 2 to 3 from set to set to set. What you want to do is use the first set as a progression indicator, and you don't worry about what the last sets are. Here's why. Because you're going to be pushing them for maximum safe reps, and they're going to be great for muscle building regardless of the rep range. So don't worry about the rep range. So here's the thing. If you had two guys, one did 3 sets by 8, 8, 8, 8, and you had two guys and one did 3 sets for max reps, 10, 7, and 5. The guy that's pushing the 3 sets for the max reps is going to get more out of it from a muscle building standpoint. That's the heart and soul of my Massive Iron book. Okay? Now, do you have to do every set as you get stronger for as many reps as possible? No. You can have 1. Most of my clients just have 1. Some of the big lifts have 3. Don't worry about the back off reps of the back off sets because you're pushing them for as many reps as possible, and that's going to be great for muscle building. The first set, though, is your progression indicator. Say when I hit 10 reps, I'm going to add 5 pounds. Or it could be when I add 11 reps, I'm going to add 5 pounds. Or it could be when I hit 12 reps, I'm going to add 5 pounds. And whatever the back off sets are, they are. Your progression indicator on that first set can be different on every exercise. Say on squats, if I hit 10 on the first set, I'm going to add reps. I'm going to add weight. That's fine. Let's say on dumbbell rows, you want to go to 15 reps. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Rep ranges don't matter. Only progression and consistency matters, and I hope that helps. Washable puppy pads, game changer. Yeah, I need to get on that stick. Where's Mr. Puppy right now? I can't see where he's hiding. He escaped somewhere. Oh, there he is. Mr. Puppy sometimes just randomly, when you pick him up, he just randomly pees. So we're getting used to that. Have you heard that hard-baked earth has 6 times more give in it than asphalt? I know what I preach to people, Philo, is to run on trails. I know from experience and from talking to other lifters that when you run on trails, it's far more forgiving. When you run on pavement, I see a lot of people pick up hip injuries, or hip strains, which transfers to knee strains, and they also get calf cramps and all kinds of stuff. And I tell people over and over and over again to run on trails, not on roads. Run on trails, not on roads. This is a staple of what I preach, and a lot of people don't get it. Not only you get the benefit of it being easier on your joints and your hips and your knees, but you also get challenged, right? And you also get this beautiful wilderness of trees and rocks, and you never know what's around the corner. It's a lot better than just, grinding on a treadmill. All right, guys, it is an hour and 8 in. I'm going to keep going as long as you guys have questions. I hope you guys are finding this interesting. I appreciate your support. Head over to superlivingtoday.com. and click the coaching tab, please. I'd like to help you out. This is what I do for a living. Coaching is $80 a month. I'm with you every single day. We get on the phone. We talk for 30 minutes, set up a plan of attack, nutrition, training. I'm with you every single day. You can send form videos every single day. Don't wait. Get on that train, please. I really want some people that really want it. So if you really want it and you're tired of bullshit, sign up today. Thoughts on the bar bending cue for bench? Anybody that knows me really well knows that my name is Ben the Barman. It's Ben the Barman. That's my Gmail. Ben the Barman. That's my Instagram. And a lot of people think that's from bending bars on deadlift. It's actually from bending the bar on bench. It's a bench cue. So I don't worry about the upper chest. But when you are benching in general, Sebastian, you want to think about rowing the bar down to your chest. You want to think about rowing the bar down to your chest. That will encourage control. And when you are doing that, you can kind of think about bending the bar inwards. That'll help you keep your elbows tucked and less strain, less pressure, better form. If you think about it, if you're holding a bar and you think about bending it down, like you have the ends of the bar and you're trying to bend them down, that's going to help you keep your elbows tucked, and that's going to help you roll that bar down. So it's just a better way to bench. and I don't really worry about upper chest. If you're worried about upper chest, I'd probably add like an incline variation. Make sure you're hitting your military presses. I'm watching you live in the squat rack. See, that's how it's done, folks. That's how it's done 100%. Somebody in the background, some hot chick's going to be like, what the heck is that creepy guy? Why that old guy? That old guy. Mr. Kid Sid, 2 years ago, I injured my lower back, and now it's bothering me on squats or bent over rows. Should I build my lower back? First thing I would do, Mr. Kid Sid, is have somebody look at your form on these exercises. Make sure your form's up to speed. You can send me a video on Instagram. I've been the barman. I'll be happy to look. If your form's good and it still bothers your lower back, you should probably consider going light for a while on those lifts and seeing if it improves over time, and prioritizing other lifts that do not bother your lower back. So for a squat, that would be leg press and hack squats, lunges and leg extensions. And if you can't do the bent over row, fine. Do dumbbell row, seated cable row, lat pull down, pull up, machine row, all kinds of rows. Paul, sometimes I can do more reps on my second and third set than my first. Is this wrong? The first thing I think of when I hear this is that you're not warming up properly. Is a warm-up's function is primarily to warm up the central nervous system so you're recruiting a maximal amount of muscle fibers. A lot of guys don't warm up properly, and then they get to their first working set and it feels heavier than crap. And then the second one will feel better because their central nervous system is awake a little bit. So, Paul, I'd be curious to look at your warm-up protocol for an exercise like this. Brips, how's the house hunting? It's dead for 18 months, Brips. It's dead. I had a VA loan, and dealing with a VA on house is just a pain in the ass. So we're going to wait until this home is paid off, and then we're probably just going to sell it and then move somewhere that's not like a communist state. Eugene T. are several workshops done by John Meadows on his app. I'll have to check that out, and thank you, sir, for the heads up. I was wondering if switching to traditional upper lower and separate arm days would help. Ian, I'm gonna tell you, and I want you guys to check this out now. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up, and let's see, Massive Iron. Go over to my main page, Massive Iron. Let's see if you can find this. Okay, so you're on my main page, and I want you guys to watch this video. This is your homework. There's a little searchy poo button right here. You search. I'm going to say a naughty word, so cover your ears or hide the kids. Fuck your program. Fuck your program. Okay? And it doesn't find the video. It doesn't find the video. That's crazy. YouTube was like, all right, here we go. So I just searched your program, okay? Watch this video called Rant, Fuck Your Program. Watch it from 5 years ago. Basically, the program is telling you programs don't matter. They really, really don't. You do the program that you like, okay? But a program basically has the same exercises as the next program. It basically has the same rep ranges, same rep volume, whatever. Programs really don't matter. That doesn't mean there aren't good programs and there aren't bad programs. And you might say, well, if programs don't matter, big, hairy, ugly dude, why do you have so many workouts? Variations, right? They're like potato chips at the store. There's one variation, one flavor for each of you. So if you like a program, you're going to be more likely to stick to it. You're going to enjoy it. So I make a lot of different workouts because I like to give people options. But is one better than the other? No, it's not. So to answer your question, Ian, that's switching to an upper lower and arm day is only going to help if you want it to help, if that's what you want to do. And if that's what you want to do it and get hard after it. Brips, how to improve pull-ups. Brips, go over to Super Living Today, right above my head here. Super Living Today. And I'm not trying to be a commercial here, folks, but go over to Super Living Today. And where we go, share the screen. Hit the little searchy poo button up here. And let's just put pull. See what happens. PULL. And we have 12 weeks to better push-ups and pull-ups. There's a program on there where I basically use, well, first off, if you're just doing straight sets, it can take forever, to add a rep to each set, right? So it can be tediously slow. One way, and this is the way I try to tackle it in that PDF, is to do time sets or block sets, where you're trying to basically see how many pull-ups you can do in a minute or 90 seconds. And then instead of just worrying about how many pull-ups you're doing in a set, you're worried about how many pull-ups you're doing in a window or a block of time. And it makes it a little bit easier to improve on your reps. So that's one good place to start. All right, Samuel Spence. Currently working on bulking, and my protein shakes consist of whey and milk and a nanner. I find that I feel very sick having one post-workout. Is there any trick you can help with digestion? Well, the first thing you need to understand, Samuel, is if something's like post-workout nutrition, do you want some protein and some carbs, like some fast-digesting carbs? It's probably a good idea to help recovery and help speed things along a little bit. But if you're feeling sick, I would either add a little bit more time before you have that, or maybe change it up a little bit. Maybe just the whey and some simple carbs, like a couple cookies or something, right? Or 100 calories of simple sugars, just something to get you on the road to recovery that isn't as thick or dense. I never obsessed about post-workout nutrition, meaning it had to be within a certain time, but I did try to get in some protein and carbs basically within the first hour after lifting. And it doesn't have to be a lot, so just listen to your body and try to tone things down or alter things a little bit. Squats, deadlift, and bench frequency for a beginner with 1 year hard training. Floor deadlifts, not more than once a week. You really don't need to squat more than once a week. You can do it a second time a week for squat practice. Look, if you're looking at general hypertrophy and power building, you're better off doing exercise variations like squat, leg press, hack squat, lunges, all that kind of good stuff. And deadlift, if you're in a reasonable program, you're going to be deadlifting and probably RDLing, a Romanian deadlift or stiff leg deadlift. That's all you need for a week. And honestly, bench. Some of my clients do benching twice a week, but it's a specific, more advanced type of program. But generally, the average lifter should be doing bench variations during the week, like a barbell bench variation, a dumbbell bench variation, maybe even like a close grip. I love your AB split. Any reason I can't do it for life? No, none at all. None at all. There's no urgent need to change programs. In fact, it's better to evolve programming based on needs. So what does that mean, Derek? Let's say you're doing barbell rows, 3 sets for 8, and you find, hey, I have more gas in the tank. I want to do an extra set of barbell rows, then add another set. Or say you're like, man, those wipe me out, but I want to do more reps. Then you could drop it to 2 by 10. The important thing is to keep the progression indicators in place, like some form of progression, and then evolving training based on needs should be, lift by lift, on a lift by lift basis. Big Bill Monty, as far as cutting goes, it's a breeze for me compared to bulking. Yeah, if that's the case, Bill, I would probably crush 4 months of bulking, then 1 month of cutting, or 3 months of bulking, 1 month of cutting. Your advice to add more reps. Oh, we already tackled that. Sorry. Paul. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. That goes into the beer fund. Justin, what's your best advice to break through strength plateaus? That's something that requires a book, Justin. It really does. But if I had to give you some generic advice, number one, the top two things that hinder strength, or maybe top three: lack of nutritional consistency. You need to be gaining weight slowly over time. Attitude. You need to be in the gym ready to rip shit up, not do stupid stuff and get injured, but you need to enter the gym and it's time to go to war. And you have to live, breathe for those plus ones. And lastly, what was my last thing? Consistency. Beyond that, hire me as a coach. Just got my bench to 275. That is a good day for my friend. How would you proceed from here if I could go back for max gains? I got a program that I use that basically is doing a 5, 10, 10, 20 with the same weight. And I have a over at my website, superlivingtheday.com, if you search bench, there's a bench course with like 15 or 20 workouts. So there's some really good ideas in there. But you might want to consider benching twice. One of the workouts that has been really a winner for a lot of people, a winner for a lot of people, is doing a 5, 10, 10, 20. So a lot of people don't get enough benching volume. So on one of your workouts, use a weight where you could probably work about 20 reps in. Let's say it's 135. Let's say for you it's 185. Let's say you could go into the gym and do 185 by 20. What you do is, after your warm-up sets, you do 5 reps with 185, then 10 with 185, then 10 with 185, then 20 with 185. Or you attempt to do 20 with 185. If you get 20 with 185, then you add 5 pounds. So you continue to do 5, 10, 10, 20 protocol. This seems like a ridiculously silly program, but of all the programs I have my clients on and of all the programs I have seen success on over the years, and I use it myself right now because I love it, it is one way to just absolutely, it just seems to, people just really seem to connect with the program and make good progress. So imagine getting your bench up to 225 by 20 using that type of program. Not only is your bench 225 by 20, but it's 225 by 20 fatigued. So remember, you're doing a 5, 10, 10, 20, and it's your 4th set. 225 by 20 on bench is an equivalent of 375 max. Imagine if it's fatigued, your 4th set, all of a sudden, boom, you got a 400-pound max. So it's just a really good program. We're going to have 6 days a week. There's no generic advice I can give you on that. First, you want to work out hard, and then you figure out recovery and rest days from there. Thumbs up, everyone. Thanks, Josh. Lists are hit on off days for weight loss. You don't do cardio on off days for weight loss. Cardio burns very little calories. So here's what I mean, Eric. When you're in a cutting diet and you're trying to lose weight, it's more important to be consistent with burning calories. Doesn't matter how you do it. Doesn't really matter. Like somebody will get on and say, HIIT burns 0.2575 percent greater calories than LIST. Well, in the real world, in coaching, in the real world where we live, the biggest thing that burns calories is consistency. So you want to be consistent with, when it comes to LIST or HIIT or hiking or walking or bowling or, whatever it is you want to do for cardio, you need to do the form of cardio that you like, that's sustainable. And you want to get in at least an hour a week for general health. And beyond that, if the weight starts to stall, you can slowly start to dial up the time per week. So to answer your question, Eric, excuse me, do what you like. Just do something sustainable as long as it burns calories. Thank you, Stein. I appreciate it. All right, should I invest in a Swiss bar for my home gym, or should dumbbells provide a similar stimulus? Dumbbells are, if you have dumbbells, you don't really need a Swiss bar. If your home gym has a straight bar, power rack, and cables, dumbbells are the king after that. And then honestly, would I get a Swiss bar? My next investment probably would be a hex bar. They're pretty cheap, and you can do hex bar rows, hex bar deadlifts, hex bar upright rows. You can do some different variations with that as well. While doing a long-term cut, is adding a rep to every exercise a month. That's good progressive overload. If you're building strength at any degree in a cut, then you're doing great. Mr. Kid Sid, thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Every day I wake up literally and like, when are people going to stop watching me on YouTube? I'm just a dipshit. But every day you keep watching, and I sincerely appreciate it. Ronald, come to Florida. Might do so. Might do so. How true is abs are made in the kitchen? 158%. Look, you're going to be lifting anyway, Danielle. Okay? You're going to be spending the next 5, 10, 15 years doing progressive overload on a wide variety of exercises. So you're naturally going to get a thicker core, thicker ab muscles, right? That's going to happen. So if you want to see them, whether you're a beginner or an advanced lifter, it's all going to be about leanness. Derek, you are commercial for keeping it real, bro. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any advice for dealing with tight, weak hips? When I squat, I feel like I'm never fully warmed up. Zed, the first thing I'd like to do is just look at your squat form. So it's good to see videos from the side and from the back. So I'd like to look at your form first. Oh, somebody's waking up. Come here, little guy. He's waking up, so we don't want him to pee again, so I'll hold him until the end of life. Okay to sub push-ups if too heavy to do dips. Yeah, if you can't do dips, man, push-ups are fine, or find some exercise you can do, like machine chest press or pec deck or something with a progression, or something where you can progress on. Big Johnny Miles, I want big bicepticons. So I work them out every workout day. Don't. If you want big arms, Johnny Miles, you need to work out them tricepticons. They have more potential to get huge. It's hard. The biceps are one of the smallest muscle groups in the world. A little bit tired. In the body, right? So you're just overworking them. You're just going to get elbow tendonitis, and you're just going to get frustrated. It's way too much. I never do more than 6 sets a week, and that's all you'll ever need. Tried pinwheel curls this week from your recent bicep video. Upper arms are burning. Yeah, I love pinwheel curls as a variation. You just kind of curl it in, and you can really feel a good bicep contraction. All right, guys, I got 4 questions left. We're at an hour and a half. Get in now if you have any last questions. So this is the last call. I made it. Is doing sprints once or twice a week okay on top of lifting? I got to be honest, BKS Gaming, I'm not a big fan of sprinting. Like, there's gears in running. Gear number 1 is as slow and steady as possible to maintain. Gear number 4 is sprinting. The fastest I would ever run is gear number 3, a degree below sprinting. I just find there's too much risk and not enough reward. So I would focus on how long can you run at that gear below sprinting. I'm getting big and strong, but my grip strength isn't as impressive. It's just been a year of training, so I should be more patient. You can do grip exercises if you want. Captains and crush grippers, pinch grip. Search my channel for grip exercises, and we'll give you some ideas. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the sentiments as well. Tips for poor ankle mobility during squat. I am not a mobility expert, Ronald, and I will not lie. I try to stay in my lane. I know that ankle mobility can help with squats. I know that a lot of people have ankle mobility issues. It's just not my forte and not my area of expertise. Okay to end last military set with push press. Yes, that's like post-fatigue work, okay? So when you get to the end of a set of something that's not going to beat you up or punish you, like military press or barbell rows, you can do a little bit of a cheat because that's post-fatigue work or post-failure work. Do I count those reps? No. Do they have value for hypertrophy? Yes, they can. 6 sets of biceps a week. I don't know. I usually do dumbbell curls and like an easy bar curl. So it really doesn't matter as long as you got a couple with a pretty good progression window. Should I do wider stance squats? If you have longer legs and short torso, the first thing I want you to do is head over to my channel and search Pick Up the Quarter. Okay, Pick Up the Quarter. That'll help you find a natural squat stance for your legs and torso. And from there, it's all about dialing it in. And if you can't find that, Mickey, hit me up on Instagram at Ben the Barman. I'll send you the link to that video. Do you believe bodyweight exercise can give you the same results? No, they can't. Unless you are willing to push the progressions to ridiculous levels, then you can. But look, that's like learning a skill like juggling chainsaws, right? Thank you. I just wanted to improve. No problem at all. All right, guys, we're done. Hour and a half in. Tune back in next Friday at 11 Eastern for Massive Iron Live. If I missed your question, head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Slide into my DM. And please sign up for coaching at superlivingtoday.com or buy one of my workouts. I keep them super cheap. Keep them super cheap. Thank you, Johnny Miles. And I keep them very affordable. I got a ton of great programs over there. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. The dog's squirming and worming. I got to get out of here.